Level 1. The Mind Slave. You are chained, not metaphorically. Iron around your ankle, welded shut, never coming off. You are 20 feet underground in a silver mine in Hispania, and the tunnel is so low you cannot stand. You crawl. You swing a pick at rock by the light of a single oil lamp that eats the air you need to breathe. Your net worth is zero. You do not own your body. You do not own the sweat coming off it. You are property, listed in a ledger somewhere between a mule and a wine barrel. The men around you are ghosts, not dead, but close. The average slave down here lasts a few months before the dust in his lungs or a collapsing tunnel or simple exhaustion finishes him. There is no retirement. There is no promotion. The only way out of this mine is death, and everyone here knows it. The overseer does not care if you live. Another slave costs less than the silver you dig in a week. You are the cheapest thing in the entire Roman economy, and Rome runs on things like you. You eat gruel once a day. You sleep where you fall. When you slow down, the whip corrects you. You have a name, but no one uses it. You are a number, a body, a tool that happens to bleed. This is the floor. There is nothing below this. Every single level above you is a level you can only dream about while you swing that pick in the dark. And most people born into Rome never climb a single step off the bottom. There is a detail down here that tells you everything about what you are worth. Some mines put slaves in leg irons that were never removed. Not to eat, not to sleep, not ever. Bodies have been found still wearing them. The Romans did the math coldly. It was cheaper to work a slave to death and buy a new one than to feed him well enough to last. You are not a worker they are trying to keep. You are fuel they are trying to burn efficiently. Remember this level. Everything above it, every single thing, will feel like paradise compared to the dark you started in. Level 2, the household slave. Somehow, you got out of the mine. Maybe you were bought by a wealthy family in the city. Maybe you were born into a household instead of a quarry. Either way, your life just changed completely. You are still a slave. You still own nothing. But now, you sleep under a roof. You eat real food, and nobody is trying to work you to death this month. You serve in a domus, a rich family's home in Rome. You carry water. You clean floors. You empty the chamber pots of people who will never learn your name. If you are lucky and clever, you get a better job inside the house. Cook, doorkeeper, hairdresser to the lady of the house. The educated slaves, the Greeks especially, become tutors and secretaries and accountants. A smart slave who can read and write and do sums is worth more than a strong one. Your brain, for the first time, is an asset. Here is the thing nobody expects about Roman slavery. It was not always forever. A household slave could be freed. Your master might free you in his will. You might be allowed to earn small tips and savings, your peculium, and one day buy your own freedom with it. You start to save. Every coin you hide is a coin closer to owning yourself. You are still at the bottom of Rome, but now, for the first time, you can see a way up. Level 3, the gladiator. You are still a slave, but now the whole city is screaming your name. You were sold to a gladiator school, a ludus, and trained to fight and kill in front of 50,000 people. Your net worth on paper is still nothing, but your value just exploded. A trained gladiator is expensive. Your owner has invested in your food, your training, your armor, your doctor. He does not want you to die cheaply. That is the strange mercy of this level. You are worth too much to waste. Most fights do not end in death. You cost too much to kill every weekend. Win, and you get prize money, real coins that you keep. Win enough, and the crowd adores you. Women send you notes. Your face gets painted on walls. Poets write about you. You are a slave and a superstar at the same time, a contradiction that only Rome could invent. And there is a prize bigger than money, the wooden sword, the rudis. Win enough, survive long enough, and you can be handed a wooden sword that means one thing: freedom. Some gladiators fought their way out of slavery and walked out of the arena free men, with a bag of prize money and a reputation. You are betting your life every time you step onto the sand, but the payout, freedom and fame, is a jump most Romans never get to make. Okay, think about what just happened. You went from a body worth less than a wine barrel to a celebrity the empire pays to watch. The most successful gladiators earned appearance fees so large that some freemen, actual free citizens, voluntarily signed away their freedom to fight in the arena for the money. Read that again. Free Romans chose to become gladiators because the pay and the fame were better than an honest poor man's life. That is how strange this level is. It is the only place in Rome where being a slave could make you richer and more loved than being free. Level 4, the freedman. You did it. You are free. Maybe you bought it with saved coins. Maybe your master freed you. Maybe you won that wooden sword. However it happened, you are now a libertus, a freed slave, and the difference is enormous. You own your body. You own your labor. You can earn, save, and keep whatever you make. You can even become a Roman citizen with most of the rights that come with it, but you carry a mark. Everyone knows you were once a slave. Your former master is now your patron, and you still owe him respect and favors. Freeborn Romans look down on you. There is a ceiling above your head, made of other people's snobbery, and you will feel it your whole life. There are things a freedman simply cannot become, no matter how rich. So you do the one thing they cannot stop you from doing. You make money. Freedmen became some of the sharpest businessmen in Rome, precisely because the respectable careers were closed to them. You open a workshop. You run a bakery. You trade goods across the sea. Some freedmen got staggeringly rich, richer than the nobles who sneered at them. Your children, born free, will not carry your mark. You are building a ladder out of your own back for them to climb, and climb they will. The most famous example of this is a made-up man who became legend, but he was based on real freedmen everyone recognized. The type was called a trimalchio, a former slave so obscenely wealthy he threw banquets with silver plates, exotic animals, and course after course of absurd luxury, all to shove his money in the faces of the freeborn nobles who still looked down on him. That was the freedman's revenge. You could not buy respect in Rome, but you could buy so much gold that respect stopped mattering. Some freedmen ended up managing the emperor's own finances, quietly becoming among the most powerful men in the entire empire, while technically ranking below a pauper born free. Level 5, the plebeian citizen. You were born free. Congratulations! You are a Roman citizen, a member of the plebs, the ordinary people who make up the vast majority of the city. You own yourself, and you owe no patron. But free does not mean rich. Most plebeians are poor, and Rome is a brutal place to be poor. You live in an insula, a rickety apartment block stacked 6 stories high, built cheap and fast. The upper floors, where you can afford to live, are the worst. If a fire starts, and fires start constantly, you are the last one out. If the building collapses, and they do collapse, you are inside it. You share one room with your whole family. There is no kitchen. There is no toilet. You buy hot food from street stalls because you cannot cook, and you use public latrines shared by strangers. But you have something the slaves and even the freedmen envy. You have the grain dole, the annona. The state hands out free or cheap grain to citizens so you will not starve. You have the games, free entertainment paid for by rich men buying your goodwill. And you have a vote. Politicians need you. They flatter you, feed you, and entertain you to win your support. You are poor, but you are a citizen of the most powerful city on earth, and that counts for something. It counts for enough to dream of more. Level 6, the legionary. You joined the army. For a poor citizen, this is the great escalator. You sign up for 25 years, and in exchange, Rome pays you, feeds you, and promises you something incredible at the end. You march across the empire. You build roads and forts. You fight Rome's enemies in forests, in deserts, and freezing mountains. The work is hard, and you might die, but you are earning a real, steady wage for the first time in your life, and a share of the loot from every city you help conquer. Survive to the end, and Rome keeps its promise. A discharge bonus, a large sum of money, or a plot of farmland of your own. You entered as a poor kid from a slum. You leave as a landowner, a veteran with savings and status and the respect of your community. Some legionaries climbed further, becoming a centurion, a professional officer with high pay and real authority over men. From the bottom of the city to a farm you own free and clear. That is a jump most plebeians only fantasize about. But there are ceilings even the army cannot break through. For those, you need to be born right, or get very, very rich. Level 7. The Equestrian. Now we cross a line that money alone can open. You are an equus, a knight. The name comes from the old days when these men could afford their own horse for war. Today it means something simpler. You are rich. To be an equestrian, you must own property worth a fortune, a specific legal threshold of wealth. Cross it, and you enter Rome's business elite. This is the class of the moneymakers. Equestrians run the empire's commerce. They own trading fleets, finance loans, and win the contracts to collect Rome's taxes, a job that made some of them monstrously wealthy. They manage mines, supply the army, and build the businesses that keep the empire's blood flowing. A senator was forbidden by law and custom from dirtying his hands with trade, so the equestrians did it for them and pocketed the profits. For scale, that fire brigade trick made Crassus a fortune that would translate to hundreds of billions in modern money, and he was only one man at this level. You wear a gold ring and a narrow purple stripe on your tunic. You have reserved seats at the games. You can hold important administrative jobs, governing provinces and commanding fleets. You are, by any measure, among the richest and most powerful people in the entire Roman world. But there is still one door closed to you, the oldest, proudest, most exclusive club in Rome. And to walk through it, being rich is not enough. Level 8. The Senator. You made it into the room where Rome is actually run, the Senate. 600 men who debate war, pass laws, control the treasury, and govern the provinces. To sit here, you need wealth even greater than an equestrian's, an enormous fortune in land, because senators were banned from vulgar commerce. Your money has to look noble. It has to come from estates, not shops. To understand this wealth, look at one real man. Crassus, the richest Roman who ever lived, was an equestrian businessman before he bought his way into politics. He made his fortune with a private fire brigade that was really a scam. When a building caught fire, his men would show up and offer to buy it from the panicking owner for almost nothing. Agree, and they put the fire out. Refuse, and they let it burn to the ground. He bought half of Rome this way, block by burning block. His wealth was so vast, it was said he could fund an entire army out of his own pocket. And he did exactly that. That is what this level can reach. You wear a tunic with a broad purple stripe and special red shoes that announce your rank to everyone on the street. You are addressed with deference. You move through the city with a crowd of clients trailing behind you, people who depend on your favor and show up at dawn to greet you. Your name, if your family is old enough, carries centuries of history. This is the ruling class of the Mediterranean world. But it is a snake pit. The Senate runs on rivalry, alliances, bribery, and betrayal. You climb the ladder of offices, the cursus honorum, one rank at a time: quaestor, aedile, praetor, each one costing you a fortune in public games and bribes to win. The higher you go, the more enemies you make. A single accusation, a single powerful rival, and you can lose everything. Exile, confiscation, or a knife in the dark. There is only one office higher than all of this, the top of the entire republic, and only 2 men hold it each year. Level 9, the Consul. You reach the summit of the cursus honorum. You are one of 2 consuls, the highest elected officials in Rome, serving for a single year that your family will brag about for 200 years. You command the armies, you lead the Senate, you preside over the state. For 12 months, You are as close to a king as the Roman Republic will ever allow a man to be. And the Republic murdered the last people who tried to become kings. The whole city knows your name. The year itself is named after you. That is how Romans mark time, by the consuls who held office. You wear the purple-bordered toga. You sit in an ivory chair, and 12 attendants walk before you, carrying the fasces, bundles of rods that symbolize your power to command and to punish. When you enter a room, the most powerful men in the world stand. But here is the trap at the top of the Republic. This power is temporary. In a year, you hand it back and become just another senator. A very grand one, but one among many. Men who tasted this power and could not let it go, tore the Republic apart to keep it. Marius, Sulla, Caesar. The ladder you just climbed ends here for almost everyone. Almost. Because one man figured out how to climb higher than the system was ever meant to allow. He kicked the ladder away behind him, and he called himself something new. Level 10. The Emperor. There is no higher level. There is nothing above you but the gods, and soon enough, they will call you one of those too. You are the Emperor of Rome. You command every legion. You control the treasury of the richest state in the ancient world. Your face is on every coin in every hand from Britain to the Persian border. 50, 60, 70 million people live and die by your decisions. When you speak, it becomes law. When you point, men die. Your wealth is not a number a normal mind can hold. You own entire provinces as personal property. Egypt, the richest land in the empire, its grain, its gold, its harvests, belongs to you personally. You own palaces, mines, fleets, and more slaves than some cities have people. You could bankrupt a kingdom on a single banquet and not notice the dent. The men at every level below you, the senators, the knights, the generals, all of them exist at your pleasure. You can raise a man from nothing or erase him with a word. But look at the ledger of the men who held this seat. The absolute top of the entire Roman world is the most dangerous chair in it. Caesar, stabbed 23 times by the senators who smiled at him that morning. Caligula, cut down by his own guards. Nero, forced to take his own life while the city celebrated. The higher you climb in Rome, the further you have to fall, and the emperor sits at the very edge of the cliff. Everyone wants your seat, your generals, your guards, your own family. You sleep behind locked doors, tasting your food for poison, knowing that the same power that makes you a god makes you a target. And this is the strange truth of the whole climb. Down in that silver mine at level 1, no one wanted the chained slave's life. But at least no one wanted him dead for it. At the very top, you own the world, and the world is quietly deciding when to kill you. From the mine to the throne, 10 levels, and every step up bought more wealth, more power, and more people who wanted what you had. Somewhere in Rome tonight, a slave is hiding a single coin, the first coin of his peculium, dreaming of buying himself one step off the bottom. He has no idea how high the ladder goes, and he has no idea what waits at the top.